everybody. How is everyone doing? I hope you're doing well. Today I'm gonna read you a bedtime story from the book Best Cat Stories. Okay, so let's start with The Cat's Paradise. I was then 2 years old and was at the same time the fattest and most naive cat in existence. At that tender age, I still had all the presumptuousness of an animal who is disdainful of the sweetness of home. How fortunate I was indeed that Providence had placed me with your aunt. That good woman adored me. I had at the bottom of a wardrobe a veritable sleeping position. Sleeping salon, with feather cushions and triple covers. My food was equally excellent. Never just bread or soup, but always meat. Well, in the midst of all this opulence, I had only one desire, one dream, and that was to slip out of the upper window and escape onto the roof. Caresses annoyed me, the softness of my bed nauseated me, and I was so fat that it was disgusting. In short, I was bored the whole day long just with being happy. That's sad. I must tell you that by stretching my neck a bit, I had seen the roof directly in front of my window. That day, 4 cats were playing with each other up there, their fur bristling, their tails high. They were romping around with every indication of joy on the blue roof slates baked by the sun. I had never before watched such an extraordinary spectacle. And from then on, I had a definitely fixed belief out there on that roof was true happiness. Out there beyond the window, just always closed so carefully. I resolved to flee. After all, there had to be other things in life besides a comfortable bed. Out there was the unknown, the ideal. And then one day they forgot to close the kitchen window. I jumped out onto the small roof above it. How beautiful the roofs were. The wide eaves bordering them exuded delicious smells. Carefully, I followed those eaves where my feet sank into fine mud that smelled tepid and infinitely sweet. And then the sun shone with a good warmth that caressed my plumpness. I will not hide from you the fact that I was trembling all over. There was something overwhelming in my joy. I remember the tremendous emotional upheaval which actually made me lose my footing on the slates when 3 cats rolled down from the ridge of the roof and approached me with excited meows. When I showed signs of fear, they told me I was a silly fat goose and insisted that their meowing was only laughter. I decided to join them in their caterwauling. It was fun, even though the 3 stalwarts weren't as fat as I was, and made fun of me when I rolled like a ball over the roof heated by the sun. An old tomcat belonging to the gang honored me particularly with his friendship. He offered to take care of my education, an offer which I accepted with gratitude. Oh, how far away seemed all the soft things of your aunt. I drank from the gutters. but sugared milk tastes half as fine. Everything was good and beautiful. A female cat passed by, a ravishing she, and the very sight of her filled me with strange emotions. Only in my dreams had I up to then seen such an exquisite creature with such a magnificently arched back. We dashed forward to meet the newcomer, my 3 companions and myself. I was actually ahead of the others in paying the enchanting female my compliments. But then one of my comrades gave me a nasty bite in the neck, and I let out a shriek of pain. "Shaw," said the old tomcat, dragging me away. "You will meet plenty of others." After a walk that lasted an hour, I had a ravenous appetite. "What does one eat on these roofs?" I asked my friend the Tom. "Whatever one finds," he replied. This answer embarrassed me somewhat, for hunt as I might, I couldn't find a thing. Finally, I looked through a dormer window and saw a young workman preparing his breakfast. On the table just above the windowsill lay a chop of a particularly succulent red. "There is my chance," I thought rather naively, so I jumped onto the table and snatched the chop. But the workman saw me and gave me a terrific wallop across my back with a broom. I dropped the meat, cursed rather vulgarly, and escaped. "What part of the world do you come from?" asked the tomcat. "Don't you know that meat on table is meant only to be admired from afar? What we've got to do is look in the gutters." So cute. I have never been able to understand why kitchen meat shouldn't belong to cats. My stomach began to complain quite bitterly. The Tom tried to console me by saying it would only be necessary to wait for the night. We would climb down from the roofs into the streets and forage in the garbage heaps. "Wait for the night," confirmed philosopher that he was. He said it calmly, while the very thought of such a protracted fast made me positively faint. Night came ever so slowly, a misty night that made me shiver. To make things worse, rain began to fall, a thin, penetrating rain whipped up by brisk howling gusts of wind. How desolate the streets looked to me. There was nothing left of the good warmth and big sun of those roofs where one could play so pleasantly. I began to think with some longing of my triple covers and my feather pillow. We had hardly reached the street when my friend the Tom began to tremble. He made himself small, quite small, and glided surreptitiously along the walls of the houses, warning me under his breath to be quick about it. When we reached the shelter of a house door, he hid behind it and purred with satisfaction. And when I asked him the reason for his strange conduct, he said, "Did you see that man with the hook and the basket?" "Yes." "Well, if he had seen us, we would have been caught, fried on the spit, and eaten." "Fried on the spit and eaten," I exclaimed. "Why then, the street is really not the likes of us. One does not eat, but is eaten instead." In the meantime, however, they had begun to put the garbage out on the sidewalks. I inspected it with growing despair. All I found there were 2 or 3 dry bones that had obviously been thrown in among the ashes. And then and there I realized how succulent a dish of fresh meat really is. My friend the Tom went over the heaps of garbage with consummate artistry. He made me rummage around until morning, inspecting every cobblestone without the least trace of hurry. But after 10 hours of almost incessant rain, my whole body was trembling. Damn the street, I thought, damn liberty, and how I longed for my prison. When day came, the tomcat noticed that I was weakening. "You've had enough, eh?" he asked in a strange voice. "Oh, yes," I replied. "Do you want to go home?" "I certainly do, but how can I find my house?" "Come along, Yesterday morning when I saw you come out, I knew immediately that a cat as fat as you isn't made for the joys of liberty. I know where you live. I'll take you back to your door. He said this all simply enough, the good, dignified tone, and when we finally got there, he added, without the slightest show of emotion, "Goodbye, then." No, I protested. "I shall not leave you like this. You come with me. We shall share the bed and board. My mistress is a good woman." He didn't even let me finish. "Shut up," he said. "You are a fool. I'd die in that stuffy softness. Your abundant life is for weaklings. Free cats will never buy your comforts and your feather beds at the price of being imprisoned. Goodbye." With these words, he climbed back onto the roof. I saw his proud, thin shadow shudder deliciously as it began to feel the warmth of the morning sun. When I came home, your aunt acted the martinet and administered a corrective which I received with profound joy. I reveled in being punished and voluptuously warm, and while she cuffed me, I thought with delight of the meat she would give me directly afterwards. You see, an afterthought, while stretched out before the emperor's true happiness, paradise, my master, is where one is locked up and beaten wherever there is meat. I speak for cats. That was a short story for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it made you really sleepy and